Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Man Cave. My name is Rod. I'm the Happy Hippie, and I want to do this video. I just saw Hannah, the Omaha introvert, do her 10 favorite albums from the 90s. I wanted to jump on this while it's still in my head, while I'm fresh on it. I started thinking, and these are solid. I couldn't pick 10, so I'm going 12. These are solid 12. And these are albums I've been listening to since they came out. This is just music I've had in my life. I love it. First, I want to do an honorable mention for the band Train and their debut album. I think this was a great album. It won a Grammy that year. Not that that means anything, but they sent me this letter, all signed by the band, to me in the radio station. I was one of the first. There's either 3 or 5 stations that were playing their music before it charted. And I got to meet these guys, and that was an honor. And after I got to meet them, they won a flipping Grammy. Isn't that far out, man? Anyway, let's go on with the video. My 12 favorite albums. Would y'all like a Twizzler? I got red this time. If you do, help yourself. Just grab and help yourself. 12 favorite albums from the 1990s. And if you're new to my channel or you haven't watched a lot of it, I was a music director for a radio, actually a couple. KFAN 1079 The Fan, also KEEP 98.3. Those were in Texas, and for WDVX in Knoxville. And those were Americana stations. So a lot of my music taste is going to swing in that direction, especially for the 90s. Coming in at number 12, Gillian Welch with her debut album, 90s album. This was voted by Gavin Magazine the #1 Americana album of the year. Gavin Magazine was a reporting magazine. It was a radio station rag. It came out 4 times a month, once a week. And it gave you the charts. It had an advertisement in it for who they're pushing, and it was for music directors basically, but it's a cool magazine to go back and look at. Anyway, they were voted #1 by the Reader's Poll by Gavin Magazine, and that is number 12. Number 11, Bruce Springsteen. This guy could have been higher on another night, another day. I may rank him higher. Ghost of Tom Job, and this is a brilliant flipping album. Very, very singer-songwriter. It's a great album. You can't take anything away from this album. This was probably his best album, I think. One of his best albums. Now we're into the top 10. James Mcmurtry, son of Larry Mcmurtry, the guy that wrote Lonesome Doves. But that doesn't matter because he stands on his own ground. James Mcmurtry, brilliant songwriter. If you've not heard the song, Where's Johnny? Try to Google it, stream it. The lyrics are amazing. Produced by, well, not this one, but his first album was produced by John Cougar Mellencamp. I got to interview this guy several times over the years. Very soft-spoken, very humble, but a brilliant, brilliant songwriter. And this album comes in at number 10 on my favorite albums from the 1990s. Number 9 and him could have switched. He really could have switched. But this is Robert Earl Keen. Is Bigger Piece of Sky. Came out in 93. Now, Robert Earl Keen, back then, he would go by Robert Earl Keen Jr. But it doesn't say this on this album, because it's a repress. Now, if you find one of his early albums that do say Robert Earl Keen Jr., that means it's an early pressing, a first press. We asked him why, and he said he had to use Junior legally because his dad was Senior. And when his dad passed away, he legally became Robert Earl Keen. He could actually go by that name. But this is a reissue of a wonderful album called Bigger Piece of Sky. Has Amarillo Highway, Corpus Christi Bay, Jessie with the long hair, with her long hair. It's just a great album, guys. Paint the Town Beige. Fantastic, fantastic Americana album. And yeah, but Robert Earl Keen used to be Robert Earl Keen Jr. So if you find his records and you wonder why some say Jr. and some just say Robert Earl Keen, that is why. And that's coming from his mouth to my ears. So, what are we at now, man? Is somebody else keeping track for me? That was 10. That was 9. So we're on number 8. Number 8, Steve Earle and Del Mccoury. The bluegrass album Steve Earle did with Del Mccoury. Fantastic bluegrass music. They put on a great show. Got to see them at the Knoxville Civic Center. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful CD. 100% pure bluegrass on this album. And it will not disappoint. Check this album out. Look what I did. I moved the camera. Next up, Steve Earle. Again, The Revolution Starts Now. Fantastic, fantastic Americana album. It was all over Americana radio. Back then, there were like 33 Americana stations reporting that they were playing Americana when it was actually a format that stations went by. And it's a mess now with the name Americana. The Revolution Starts Now has the FCC on it. A song you definitely could not play on the radio. You would lose your job, buddy. Put it on and go back, clear out your locker and go home if you wanted to play it. Steve Earle, The Revolution Starts Now. And I believe that brings me to my top 5. And these 5 could be interchangeable, possibly. Number 5, Sun Vote, a break-off of Uncle Tupelo. This debut album very well may be one of the greatest debut albums, in my opinion. Sun Vote. Oh my God, Tear-Stained Eyes. I remember hearing it the first time in my office. It was FedEx to us, and they said, you got to check out track so-and-so and whatever, and it was Tear-Stained Eyes. I remember hearing it, and I remember getting the note saying to call the record rep as soon as I got it. I called and said, we're going for ads next Tuesday. I said, I'm going to start playing it today. Sun Vote at number 5. Is this shocking? Number 4, Nirvana, Nevermind. Grunge album. I was in my early 20s when this came out. I was still a young buck. I love this album, man. Was it my format? No, it was not. Did I care? No, I did not. I love this album. One of the greatest albums ever, Nirvana. You know, their Unplugged album, I actually played that on an Americana station. We had a AAA slant to us, adult album alternative slant. And their Unplugged stuff really went well with some of that Americana stuff, man. That was 4. I'm down to 3. Bob Dylan. Time Out of Mind. I've heard someone say it was a comeback album. It kind of was. How many awards did he win for this thing? Fantastic album. I love this album. There was no song that you could not play on the radio. There was a real long one on there you may not want to play unless it was real late at night. But Bob Dylan, Time Out of Mind, a legend. We're down to the final 2. This next album, when it first came out, the song actually gave me goosebumps. The song was called She Is Gone. The album is called Spirit. And this is a legendary performer, songwriter, and he just went a slight bit to the left. And so it did not get picked up on a lot of mainstream radio. And they missed out on a wonderful song and a wonderful album. His diehard fans loved him. The Americana charts were eating it up. I mean, eating it up. Mainstream country, they didn't touch this flipping album. I'm talking about Spirit by Willie Nelson. The greatest album he ever did. Spirit, Willie Nelson. It has She Is Gone on it. It has also like 3 instrumentals. Some really cool picket instrumental music. And the lyrics are very kind of dark and deep. And they're not his drinking sing-along songs. They're not the, just, I got locked up last night songs. My favorite song on here is Your Memory Won't Die in My Grave. She Is Gone. I'm Too Tired to Pray. Look at Willie. This is a masterpiece. Find this album, either on CD or vinyl. Find this album and buy this album. And enjoy this album. You're going to love this album, I'm telling you. This could have been number 1. Had a tough time picking. Okay, I already showed a band that broke off from this band. You may guess what this is. This is Uncle Tupelo. Iodine. Fantastic, fantastic album. Uncle Flippin' Tupelo. No Depression could be tied for this, but I only grabbed one Uncle Tupelo album. But this and No Depression, they're my favorite albums, along with ones I've shown in my top 5, really. Just a solid favorite. Uncle Flippin' Tupelo. Guys, get back together. Work out the bullshit. Give us a reunion tour. Come on, man. These were my favorite albums from the 1990s. Hey, by the way, I want to thank everyone who did my contest. And if anyone's still watching this video, I'll tell you about my contest. I never gave the prize, but it's going to be cool. 10 things you want for the year 2023. It can't be winning the lottery to buy more albums. It has to be musically related. Musically related. The first question, you count down from 10, or count from 1 to 10, I don't care. 10 things you want musically. The last question I want you to do is name an artist you would love to have back. And some people ain't digging giving somebody. And I'm not talking about really killing somebody. Let's just put someone backstage and bring someone back from the grave and let them perform just one night even. Guys, that's my contest. It's going to run to December 15th. This is just celebrating 4 years. I want to thank everybody who's already made an entry. I'm going to read that off probably sometime in the next couple of days. I was just chilling tonight, hanging out. And I saw this video by Hannah, the Omaha Introvert. And I just had to jump on it. I loved the 90s. I think that was my favorite decade of music. Throw a rock at me if you want to. You can't tell me what my favorite was. You could say what your favorite is, and I respect it. That's the coolest thing about opinions. Peace.